Welcome to AM Best Audio.
As captive insurance companies evolve, the role they play in risk management is evolving as well. And companies have several factors they need to consider when exploring this alternative insurance solution. I'm John Weber for Best Review Magazine, and I'm speaking today to Aaron Hillebrandt, Principal and Consulting Actuary for Pinnacle Actuarial Resources. Aaron, so glad you could join us today.
Yep, thank you for having us.
So Aaron, what are the advantages for insuring exposures through a captive?
Well, there can be a variety of advantages and potentially disadvantages, but that's going to vary by industry. It's going to vary by what coverages go into that captive. But in general, captives do have a long, well-established track record as a mechanism to buffer against changing external conditions in the broader insurance market. And sometimes there can be greater flexibility in a captive insurance company than in the commercial market. So the commercial market can be volatile at times, and captives can help organizations sort of weather those waves in the underwriting cycle in the broader market. For example, a commercial carrier could non-renew your policies. It could restrict limits, could enact rate increases for you, even when there are no material changes to your own company's exposures or loss experience.
What do companies look for when insuring exposures through a captive insurance company?
Well, one thing is captives can be useful for filling gaps in commercial coverage. So, for example, a large, complex organization could have a variety of different risk exposures. And some of those exposures may be treated differently by the commercial market because maybe some of those areas are not within their core risk appetite. So some of those segments or pieces may be more subject to rate increases or non-renewal or exclusion than other pieces of the business. So that can cause holes in the organization's insurance tower or the risk management program, and captives can have the flexibility to help fill in those gaps. And that's especially true if a company already has a captive insurance company in place, so that when that gap is created, the captive already exists and can rapidly step in to fill that gap in the tower.
So where do emerging risks come in, Aaron?
Well, with new and different types of risk exposures, sometimes the commercial market can take some time to kind of catch up with those changes. And sometimes those trends or those new exposures can be a little bit different than what would fit neatly within an existing commercial insurance product. So that could also present an opportunity for captives. So captives have demonstrated over time that they can be a nimbler solution in many ways relative to the broader commercial market. So captives can quickly assess and understand a complex risk and emerging risk. And for example, if needed, they could take a comparable commercial policy form and tailor it to what's new and different about this exposure relative to the legacy exposure. Now, the commercial market can do the same thing, but oftentimes it just might take them a little bit longer to get there. So, one example is cyber liability. So cyber risk, that's gotten better over the last decade or so, but there's been a lot of volatility on the way there in terms of rates kind of, hitting the bottom and jumping back up, underwriting criteria getting stricter and stricter. But at the same time, maybe over time, the policy forms across carriers have gotten a little bit more consistent. But there just has been a lot of volatility, which has led a lot of captive insurance companies to insure the first party risk of their parent company for cyber as kind of a stopgap until the commercial market stabilized a bit.
Aaron, why are captive insurance companies seen as being so efficient?
Well, generally they are efficient or nimble because of the operational structure. So if you think about the operational structure of a commercial carrier, those can be very large organizations with complex IT, marketing, administrative organizations. I mean, think about some of the largest carriers, and you might have a large agency force spread across the country. You could have skyscrapers, billboards, TV ads, all those things, relate to operating expenses. And so, it's not uncommon for in the commercial market, if you buy an insurance policy, for every dollar of premium you pay, you might have 30 cents or more of that dollar going just to paying the carrier's operating expenses, with the remainder being available to pay losses. So by comparison, captives tend to be pretty lean because they will often outsource most or all of their operating needs. So they'll often have a third-party accounting firm, third-party law firm, investment firms, captive manager, actuarial firms, and because it's all outsourced in that way, the expense ratio tends to be lower than what a commercial carrier's expense ratio would be. It's going to vary by the complexity of the program and the lines of business and what services are needed. For example, if it's a fronted program or not fronted program, but it's not uncommon for a captive's expense ratio to be a third of what it would be as a commercial carrier. So that efficient operating model gives captives a pretty good advantage in being able to innovate and be nimble, and it contributes greatly to the captive insurance industry's reputation for efficiency and flexibility.
Aaron, thanks for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
That was Aaron Hillebrandt, Principal and Consulting Actuary for Pinnacle Actuarial Resources. And I'm John Weber for Best Review Magazine.
Looking to get the full attention of the insurance industry? We have the platforms that will do just that. Whether it be AM Best TV, AM Best Audio, Best Review Magazine, or Best Day. Find out more by calling AM Best Advertising Sales at 908-439-2200, extension 5399, and have a great day.